Hello everyone, and nice to meet you again in new 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still alive and we still developing Korea IL-2 series. And today in our studio, Victor Sishnoy. Hello, Victor.
Hey.
And this means that today we talk again about airplanes, and today it's about AI airplanes, four of heavy airplanes which we'll have in Korea.
One heavy and three middle.
They are heavier than fighters.
Yes.
Okay, so it's two transport planes, one red, one blue. So it's Tupolev Tu-2, C-47.
C-47B for the United Nations.
Yeah, and two bombers. One frontline bomber for red side is Tupolev Tu, and one heavy four-engined bomber B-29 for United States.
Yeah.
So let's begin our talk from. Let's build our talk by classic, from simpler to most complex, right? And let's begin from transport planes. And more than that, these two transport planes are very linked in their history.
Yeah, yeah.
C-47 and Tupolev Tu, actually, it's they have one route in their history, right?
Tupolev is license-built airplane from DC-3.
So let's talk about that.
So basically, on the start of 1920s, with the rising of popularity of commercial airlines in the United States, commercial and passenger transporting airlines, TVA company requested Douglas company to develop a modern airplane for the passengers and transport.
TVA, it's airlines company, right?
TVA, yes. So in 1933, first airplane called DC-1 was produced in one exemplar, so which was used like a demonstration of and marketing of new airplanes. The main feature was to raise comfortability and reliability of passenger and transportation, because on altitude it was cold, it was hot.
Engines were loud.
Engines were loud, so it was closed cabins with heated and ventilated cockpits and with sound insulation.
Yes, so it's still not hermetic or pressured cockpits, right?
But much more comfortable, which were previous airplanes.
Yeah, because loud from noise from engine was reduced. There was thermal isolation, so you will not freeze on the altitude. And there was ventilation, so you will not overheat on the airfield, right?
Yeah. So it's after that there was DC-2, which was built in much more numbers, and after that in 1935 there was DC-3, which was a little bit bigger. First two was 14 passengers, and DC-3 was able to carry 29 passengers in it. So mostly its main feature is all new technologies which was implemented, innovation was used. It was tensioned skin, low monoplane with long wing, with monocoque fuselage, with all the new features, with anti-icing on the wings and the tail, with radios, with all the things which was introduced in the state-of-the-art aviation.
So by the date, it was very advanced airplane.
Yes,
right?
yes, and it was by some information by end of 1930s. Almost 90% of all around world passengers transportation flights was performed by DC-3.
That's really can be called like a commercial success.
Yes, commercial success. It was because it was commercially выгодно. Effective, yes. Yeah. First commercial effective airplane, and actually it was. There was a problem for the first airplanes. They carried less payload than they weighed, and DC-3s was one of the new airplanes which was able to carry more than their empty weight. So
It's very reasonable because every passenger will be happy to be carried not like a bag with stuff, but
Yes.
like a normal human in a warm cockpit without super noisy engine over the ear.
Yeah. So because of that success, military aviation was interested in transport airplane too. So that's development being was C-47, which actually was quite different from DC-3. It had strengthened cargo floor and also a huge cargo door on the left side of the airplane, which was able to load big size cargos in the airplane. And it mostly was implemented with some kind of new radios, which was militarily related, some kind of radio altitude, altimeter, beacon receivers.
So it was good equipped for night flights and for
blind flying.
Blind flights in bad weather conditions.
Yes.
So, and here let's make a fork in our story, because I think this is a good point to tell how it have turned out to Lisunov too.
Yeah, in the end of 1920, 1930, Soviets was interesting into development of new modern airplanes, because Soviet Republic was only building out of the civil war, which was ended just a few years before in 1920-22. So Soviet delegation went in the United States, and by results of this trip was purchase of the license for the building DC-3s, and they purchased one airplane with some technical stuff for it. After that, there was huge work on re-engineering of the, because of to translate inches into metrics, and it's turned out into the firstly PS-84 airplane. It's Passagierski 84 is a number of factory it was built in Khimki. And it have new Soviet engines, M62, which was actually developed from American Wright 8020, I think. Well, but it was less powerful than the ones what was installed in C-47. M62 have 100 horsepower. Pratt Whitney on C-47 have 120, 200.
And this why Soviet Lisunov Tu have very specific takeoff procedure. You got to roll your airplane, take off from the runway, hover on the very low altitude, just a little bit higher than the tips of the trees, rise the speed, and afterward you go to the climb, right?
Well, yeah. There was some problems with
very tricky.
With oil cooling, which was mostly solved by the later series of airplanes after the war and on the end of the war. And mostly interesting thing about Lisunov Tu, which was on the start of the Second World War, they was used as unarmed transport. But when they suffered losses in air against enemy airplanes, firstly, there was developed on the field, motorized on the field factories. They was armed with turret on the top of it, with first was 762 Shkas, and one Shkas firing forward, and two in the backside of windows of the cargo bay. Later it was first it was PS-84. In 1942 it was renamed into the LA-2 by name of the engineer of the factory, Lisunov. And it was rearmed with high caliber UBS gun on a turret. Also there was external bomb load carriage added, so it was able to carry up to 1 ton of bombs, and still was able to carry some cargo, because it was on the left side of the airplane. There as well was installed a huge cargo door, and it was kind of universal airplane, which was maybe used as transport or maybe used as bomber.
This is fun story that it was very spread model of a bomber.
Yes. By the end of 1945, by the end of the war, the long-range regiments of bombing regiments, most of the airplanes which was used, it was LA-2.
So and only significant change in construction of DC-3 or C-47 military model was just enforced floor, right?
Yeah, it was enforced cargo door, cargo floor and door. Yes.
Yeah, and that's all. So this is very
Mostly
this is a very big difference in military story of these two airplanes, right? And also interesting that DC-3, why it was so spread, it used special manufacturing procedures using the special templates, right?
Yeah. It was modern practice of the templates. When templates used on the production, it was was costly on the start of production, but with a huge number of production, it was faster and less cost.
Yeah,
with time.
And it was not used for Lisanov's plane.
It was used for Lisanov
too, yeah?
Yes, Soviets learned about it, about most construction. Actually, it was most part which was most input on the Soviet production about this.
So they used this experience for evolving aviation industry of the Soviet Union, right? So let's talk about Korean part of the story.
Yeah, C-47 was present on Pacific, so there was some kind around this place. So they was used for the transportations, medical evacuations, and some airplanes was used for propaganda. So there was sound speakers in it flying around, and some even was used as night pathfinders with incendiary bombs. And it was mostly used C-47B with in the great battles we have C-47I with one speed supercharger. C-47B was almost the same, but you used two-speed supercharger. It give it for it better altitude performance mostly. As about Lisanov, it was some of our planes was purchased by Chinese and supplied to them. It's not quite known how did the North Koreans use it or not, but I think it was maybe supplied from Soviet Union and maybe from Chinese.
Yeah, and this is one of the part of our development of Korea, because indifferent from World War II, it's very hard to find the historical documents about combat history of airplanes on the right side.
Yeah. Mostly, most problem is on the Korean side, less problems on Chinese, and a little bit lesser for the Soviet side.
Yeah, and they say the same troubles are waiting us ahead with Pacific, right?
I think there will be no problem for the American side.
I mean about
some problems for Japanese, yes, because mostly if you have technical description, it's written on the hieroglyphs, and it's hard to read it.
So, and about Lisanov, it was also C-47. It was mostly Australian, right?
Yeah, there was one Australian unit which operated from the Korea, and some American units which was have single airplanes and was flew from Japan.
So about Lisanov, they were mostly unarmed in Korea, right?
Yes, in Korea we will have a clear transport version, LA-2, LA-2T. It's T is transport. So it is what built from after the war, and it was clean transport version, unarmed airplane.
Without turret, without
turrets,
bombs?
Without bombs, yes, just a transport airplane.
So let's then switch to our next hero, Tupolev Tu. So initially it was dive bomber, twin engine dive bomber,
yes,
right?
Initially it was developed by the program of 1940 to develop of high-speed dive bomber, and production of it was taken by Burial, which was kind of when some of the constructors was repressed by NKVD, and they work it mostly.
Evil NKVD.
Yes, they
our
work
lovely, right?
They formed the CKB-29 bureau, which worked on the NKVD kind of work process inside of a prison. Well, so they started to first airplanes call it 103. It's a kind of index of airplane which was used mostly in Soviet practice by indexes. It actually was 3 airplanes developed parallel. The first was 103 with single with pilot placed in single seat cabin and forward with gunners on the back. 103U with 2-seat cabin on the forward with navigator and as well as gunner behind the pilot, like in P2. And third one was 103V. And actually this airplane, first 2 airplanes was equipped with IM-37 engines. It's actually IM-35, the same like on a MiG-3, yes, but with intercooler. But due to the problems with the engines and the productions, third airplane, 103V, succeeded. It was equipped with M82 engines, the same as on Lavishkin air fighters, air-cooled engines. And again, in 1942, it came out kind of a short series of military trials. It went on the front with on the Kalininski front, on the southern front, and was used. Some airplanes was used in Kursk battle, 18 airplanes or something like that. And after the production was ceased, and because in 1942 there's problems with the fighters supplies, there was lack of fighters. So for the factory when Tu-2 produced, there was moved to production of fighters. But then in the summer of 1943, there was back decision to start production again. By this time, there was Tupolev was free because by the
there was a deal between Lavrenti Beria and Tupolev. Yeah,
Beria keep his.
There was a deal. The story tells, I don't know how much true it is, but the story tells that Beria told Tupolev that if plane will fly, you will be free.
Yeah, quite effective way.
Yeah, I like this management methods.
Well, so in the middle of 1943, there was a decision to make production again, and it was mostly almost the same, but internally very different airplanes. It's much prepared hydraulic system, fuel system, and main feature it was new engines. M82 FN with direct injection.
Same as Lavishkin 5 FN, right?
Yes, yes. So there was actually much problems with old engines because carburetor problems was too hard to tune it. With direct injection there was problem solved and airplanes was very successful.
Very fun to see, like story of World War II Soviet aviation is actually combined around engines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mostly about engines, not about planes, because M105, it was engine which production was split between Yakovlev airplanes
and first Lavishkin types, like LA-3.
Yeah, and Petlyakov frontline dive bombers, right? P2. And it always was some kind of conflict because we need engines for fighters or for bombers, right? And the same story about the Tupolev Tu, which have shared the engines with Lavishkin La-5 fighters, right? So we see that, as you have told, that in some moments bombers production was stopped because of troubles with
With fighters production.
With fighters production, right? And the same vice versa story have happened with third engine AM38, where MiG-3 production have stopped because the Soviet Union needed more
Storm
X.
yeah. So basically, main feature of new airplane was not mostly from first productions as well. They was able to carry high caliber bombs up to 1 ton. And actually, it mostly used it exclusively because P2 wasn't able to carry 1 ton bombs. So it was used for special targets and so on. As for the new Tu-2, it was new engines and mostly the same airplane as before. This time it was modified. There was widened cockpit for the more comfortability of pilots. There was vertical stabilizers area was increased, and after the war there was modification for the air props. There was added 4-blade props with feathering features. So it's actually the one we will have in Korea. It's a late model of late series of Tu-2 with these 4-blade propellers.
And it need be told that actually in the end of World War II and of course in Korea, it turned out that this plane have stopped to be dive bomber, right?
Yeah. New series of airplanes was without dive brakes, but with trimming feature with diving automat, which was used for change trim position for the pull out and pull in into the dive.
Okay, so and let's talk shortly about how it was used in Korea, how it appeared there.
Well, in Korea it was used mostly in 3 episodes. It was Buring-do, if not mistaken. There was bombed island with some radar stations of United Nations placed. So it was October 1941. And the first flight there was successful during the day with escort of fighters. Second one was carried during night, and there was not much target hit because of night. And third was close to disaster because they was intercepted by sabers, and so there was some kind of pretty much losses from the Tu-2. And after that, they was mostly episodically used as frontline bombers for some kind of target.
Yeah, and also again there is very lack of info about how exactly it was used in smaller episodes of war.
Yeah. Interesting thing that all of Tu-2 was used mostly by Chinese, but as there was actually not present, there was kind of people volunteers army. So there was repainted Chinese markings with Korean rundles. Some photos indicate there was paint which covered the Chinese flag.
So and here is our main hero of today.
The B-29.
Yeah,
the
big
heavy
one.
bomber. Yeah. So in almost it was produced by the program of 1940, which we requested bomber which will be able to carry 2,000 pounds of bomb, 20,000 pounds of bomb,
right.
9 ton.
9 ton.
With high speed, have a pressurized cabin and so on, new features. So by this program, there was a few airplanes, but mostly Boeing succeeded on it. But 21 September 1944 was first flight of XB-29. With some later production with IB-29s with some kind of pre-series of evaluation. And up to May 1944, it was developed with some technical troubles solving and so on. The main problem was with engine because it was equipped with Wright Cyclone 3350 with duplex turbo. Each engine had 2 turbos on it installed. So it was very powerful. It was 2200 horsepower with takeoff. With some sources state it was 2500 with very emergency power. So it was a high altitude engine which was able to make a speed of airplane by on 9 kilometers of altitude. It was around 600 kilometers per hour, very fast. So it have pressurized cabin. It was divided in two sections, nose and tail, which was connected with such tube tunnel over the bomb bay. So we had to crawl if you need to get into one.
And where was poor one in this crew,
In the
right?
tail, yes.
In the tail.
Was alone.
Who was alone and with unpressurized
Yes, also
cockpit, right?
one of the main features of airplane was computer system of armament control. There was 4 electrically operated turret on the fuselage, 2 on top, 2 on bottom, and one of the tail. And actually there was few posts for gunner control, and every post was able to take almost all turrets to the control. So and computer calculated the convergence to the needed point, and it was one of the most cool features of the plane.
Yeah.
Also, it carried targeting radar on the belly, INPS-13. So it was able to bomb through the cloud sometimes if needed.
So let's tell about how it was used in Korea, how it appeared there. There were some funny episodes of it.
Well, yeah, it was mostly used as a strategic bomber for the bombing targets in non-Korea. Some episodes in 1950, before MiG-15 appearance, there was some witnesses say that sometimes it was able to spot B-29 over the enemy positions around 2 or 3 kilometers altitude, which was pounding.
It's just a regular situation. American frontline 4-engine bombers.
But with appearance of MiG-15, it was this practice was dropped mostly, so it was mostly used as a target, strategic bomber with big formations with huge coverage fighters. But against of jet fighters, jet interceptors, it was there was in '95 some losses from MiGs. So later they switched to the night bombings. There was also tried to intercept the LA-11 at first, which was proper airplane, which wasn't able to catch it.
Yeah,
almost.
Because on altitude their speed was almost the same, right?
Almost the same, but a little bit higher, but not enough to catch it.
Plus B-29s use it with special tactics with shallow diving, right?
Yeah, shallow diving. And after that, there was night fighters were switched to MiG-15s, and there was some kind of SATSFL intercepts of the B-29, but mostly not much in numbers. Well, it was used basically through all the war, and the last mission carried on 27th July, at the last day of the war. And of course,
so it was very widely used, right?
Yes, very widely used. And of course, we should mention that it was used for atomic bomb in the Second World War, for atomic bombings of Japan.
Yeah, it will be one of the questions from community on our next part of the meeting.
Yeah, for 6 August of 44 and 9 August of 94.
So, guys, you have asked very much and very interesting questions about these 4 airplanes. We will make a additional brief room release for answering these questions. So please follow up our channel, please subscribe and set your likes if you like it.
And ask more questions if needed.
Yeah, ask more questions. We will post a new pool for your questions for next brief rooms later. So thank you, Victor, and everyone, goodbye.
See ya.